Hey guys, welcome to Reddit Brew. You know the drill. We're back at it again with the good old Reddit stories. So let's just jump into it, shall we? Aita for flipping out on my fiance for canceling all the vegan food options from our wedding food menu behind my back, plus update. My fiance, 31-year-old male, and I, 25-year-old female, are getting married soon. There wasn't much that we disagreed on during the wedding planning, except for food. My family and I are vegans, and there are so many reasons as to why we chose this lifestyle, and one of them being that we have a history of health issues. My husband and his family are the complete opposite. They're hardcore meat eaters, which is fine by me, obviously. However, when deciding on the wedding food menu, I wanted to add 4 to 5 vegan options. My fiance and his mom objected, saying it was a waste of money over food that isn't real food. They also argued that this would be offensive for their guests and suggested my vegan options just be good old salads and appetizers. His mom wanted cupcakes. Lol. I said no, because for one, it's me and my family who's paying. And two, I want to make my guests feel welcome and not treated as second-class citizens by being served salad. My fiance made a face and said, "Isn't that what vegans eat?" I refused to argue about it and said it was final. The other day, I found out that he had canceled all the vegan options and took them off the menu completely behind my back. I was seething. I called him at work, but he kept hanging up on me. I went straight to his workplace and confronted him there and just flipped out on him. He was stunned to see me. He at first said it was his mom's idea, then told me to go home because I was making a scene at his office. The fight continued at home, and he defended himself by saying that I sort of made him resort to doing this after I kept brushing off his thoughts and input and refusing to accommodate his family. But there were plenty of meat options. Why can't I get 4 to 5 vegan options when I'm paying for it? He yelled that it was his wedding too and not my family's. My family said it was fine and that they'll figure it out and told me to let it go, but I refused. Update. So his mom messaged me earlier to try to get me to listen to what she had to say after I kept ignoring her phone calls. She sent long walls of text just to address what I did at her son's workplace, calling it all kinds of stuff from immature to unhinged. She then went to explain how she's noticed that me and my family kept acting dismissive of her son's input and contributions to the wedding. She said that she noticed my behavior towards him and her entire family and wanted to speak up earlier, but didn't, to try and keep the peace. She then went on to address the food menu issue and denied her involvement in the cancellation of the vegan option, but that didn't mean she doesn't support her son's decision. Moreover, she thought it was so responsible of him to make that move because of my continual refusal to see how this stuff is a waste of money. She also pointed out how I kept saying that I paid for it and that technically this isn't just my money, it's mine and his because we're getting married. And she suggested I wisen up and get rid of the my money, I paid for it mentality. She finally mentioned how bad this whole situation is making me look and said that she and her son had already offered a number of compromises that I chose to brush off and decided to make it my weird hill to die on. She said that not only is her son upset, but she and the family are as well after hearing about it, and suggested I just agree on their compromise and be done with it. This pissed me off beyond belief, and I responded by letting her know that I'm still standing my ground on this, even if I'll have to call the whole wedding off because of it, because honestly, this is just ridiculous. It is. My mom and dad, they don't even know what to say anymore. Apparently my fiance saw my response to her, he's with her, and is now trying to call me. But right now I'm waiting on him to get home and see if he's still insisting on the stance he took. I'll update if there's anything worth adding after we talk. Update. So the talk didn't go well. I waited for him to come home so we could have a final conversation about it, but he still insisted on his stance. For more details, his family are a bit on the heavy side. Most of them are obese. Nothing wrong with that. They're perfectly within their right to decide how to live, but they get easily offended at the mention of the words weight and food. I tried so hard to focus on the issue at hand, but I noticed there was a pattern of this behavior. He said it wasn't true, and that this was just an attempt for me to throw past conflicts at him in order to win the current one. He claimed he tried to reason with me about why and how his guests might see those vegan options as offensive. Also said that his family love food and consider it a big deal, and how he didn't want his family to feel like there's certain options that they couldn't touch, and feel that there's difference in how I treat them versus how I treat my family. He went on to explain how it's just an event, and how my family should just accept what's on the menu, and if they felt inconvenienced, so what? It's just a one-time thing. They're not gonna die if they had a salad and appetizers. What he said wasn't good enough reason for me, cause his folks are gonna think and say what they want. But at the end of the day, it's my wedding. And to be honest, realizing that my partner himself thinks it's okay to steamroll my opinions and decisions simply because he's prioritizing others and their opinions over me was really upsetting, and not something that could be looked past. Normally, I'm a person of rational discussions and compromises. I'm all about compromises. I'd compromised on much bigger matters than just food, but like people said, it's not about the food anymore, if it ever was. Like, he'd literally lose nothing if he let me have what I wanted, but apparently, he was willing to lose it all over this, which is fine by me. I gave him back the ring and called everything off. I just couldn't envision myself living like this any longer, having to walk on eggshells for his family and letting him basically override my opinions and have final say no matter what. Marriage is about compromise, and here he has nothing to lose, yet chose to do this to me and my family. Mind you, this was my first serious relationship, and I didn't know what to expect, but it's safe to say that he and his mom and family did make it feel like I was taking crazy pills on many occasions. So that's that. Last thing he said was that I chose my family over him and ended everything between us for the sake of keeping him happy. Decision's been made and it's done. What a liberating update. I am so relieved OP called it off. She dodged a huge bullet. A narcissistic family of bullets, actually. The fiancé deserves it. He is the one who chose his family over OP. Plain and simple. And she's right. He likely would have every time. Also, everything he and his mom said to OP was so hypocritical, because every point they made was at least equally applicable to them. It would cost them nothing to let OP's family have their options. He and his family could have totally eaten the vegan options too if they wanted to. There were not things that they quote unquote couldn't touch. Vegan food is not forbidden to non-vegans. All I see is a group of people who couldn't handle even one thing not being completely for them. It was all about control. The idea that it offended them for there to be food present that they may not choose to eat is incredibly narcissistic and quite frankly bizarre. That was the weird hill to die on, not OP's. But to those used to always getting their way, compromise looks like oppression. They couldn't handle not being the only people whose needs or wants were important. And again, OP dodged a massive bullet here by leaving this entire family behind. She saved herself from a life of being constantly devalued. You go, OP! But anyway, that is all from me today. I hope you enjoyed this full AITA story. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. I truly appreciate when you do, and I will see you in the next Reddit story. Bye!